Hello, welcome to the Ask a Christian podcast. I'm your host, Nate. All right, so we've got some things I want to talk about today. We're going to recap my adventure into the civilized world yesterday, which I'm clearly not cut out for. And then we're going to dive deeper into a Calvinism question. I often try to present something that's good enough to appease everyone. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to talk about the Calvinisms. Not all of it, just a little bit, one specific part. So listen up for that. What else? Take 2 seconds, go to askachristianpodcast.com, askachristianpodcast.com, and you can follow us there. You can check out our Discord, join us live if you dare. You can find the Ask a Christian book, some practical tips, insights, questions, answers, things like that, for internet evangelism, as well as commonly asked questions, stuff like that. And, wherever you're listening to this, take 2 seconds if you would. Like, share, and subscribe. That would be super awesome. So, whenever Chris arrives, he has a riven. Is that a word? A riven. He has a riven. But when he can speak, Chriseth, when you can speak, I have a Calvinism question for you. But you just let me know when you're ready. Until you are, let me figure out what I was going to have. I had something. This is from the Gospel Coalition. If I can share my screen, we'll get started with that. There we go. The Gospel Coalition. All right. We often talk about our fun subject about empathy and a third way and how ungodly it can be. It's like, don't you want to have empathy for people? Well, yeah, unless they're wrong. Have empathy, but not at the expense of false doctrines and wronghood. So we're going to talk about this article from the Gospel Coalition. Or I can recap my day. Should we do this later? Maybe Chris wants to be a part of that. You know what? I'm going to talk about my day. I assume you're listening, Chris. Let's talk about my day for a minute. So I am not cut out to be part of the civilized world as it is promoted. I need to be in a nice little small cabin somewhere in the woods without contact of anyone except, I guess, let's say my family. That's probably what I need to do. So yesterday, I guess while you were being a good father and husband, going on your family road trip or whatever you did, I was trying to do the same, except forced and against my will. So I was taken to an aquarium. It was a new aquarium and stuff like that, and it was right in the middle of a very busy city. And it's tourism time in Florida, which doesn't matter now because Florida's never going back. It's going to be this way forever. So there's not going to be an on-season, off-season. It's going to be just madhouse roadblocks. Like, hey, let's go sit on the interstate and not move for like an hour. So that was my day yesterday. So got to the aquarium, hugely crowded everywhere, tons and tons of people everywhere. It was next to a mall, crazy crowded. Everyone's on spring break. So we walk in, pay overpriced tickets, and it's half the size of the main parent aquarium it's affiliated with. It's designed, it looks like if Noah's Ark was a spaceship, is what it looks like. I'm like, did you design it to look like a floating ark on purpose? Is that a slight against the Bible? Is that a nod to the Bible? What are we doing? So we walked in and saw some sad fish, and they're like, oh, here's our prize manatee. I'm like, it's missing a tail. It's like, well, it's a rescue. It got hit by a boat. I'm like, well, okay. So we saw some sad manatees. We saw some... Yeah, I will say the best part was the penguins and the river otters. They made me smile, which kind of worries me because it's like, remember Tony Soprano? How he didn't have any problem doing dastardly things to his fellow man. I do, so I'm not Tony Soprano. I'm also not a mobster and not rich, but he had no problem exerting his will or vengeance over fellow humans. But he got really mad if anyone messed with the ducks. He liked the ducks and the animals. So I'm like, wow. People really bother me, especially in the interstate. But, the penguins are cute. The otters are nice. Ah! Is that an otter sound? Anyway, everything else was awful. We paid for overpriced ice cream. And, yes. I'm like, you know what? I've had enough of what they tell me I should want. Then we walked the mall. Of course we did. We walked the mall. And, I would get from one bench to another bench and sit while my family shopped for forever. And I would sit there and try to listen. I'm like, okay, this is really hard to recap without saying things I don't want to say. But so I'm like, I've had enough of the city living that everyone says that we should want and is the pinnacle of life. You have to work to get money, to spend money, to shop, to get all this crap you don't need and you don't even want. I'm like, I'm over it, man. I'm like, I'm a person of Walmart and I'm happy. This shirt, like $4 from Walmart. That's where I am right now. I think that's it. Yeah. So the point of this is, if everyone could chip in, buy me a small cabin in the middle of some mountains somewhere where I don't have to go out and do anything other than like pick a carrot out of the ground or like shoot a slingshot at like a rabbit. That's where I am. All right. I'm also testing out 2 mousepad wrist rests. So that's also what's going on in my world, and it's driving me crazy. Hey, Oliver. So, emotional validation isn't always loving. Let's see what this is about. In typical fashion, I have not pre-read it, because why would I? Imagine you're sitting across the table from a church friend. You've known him since he began attending church a few years ago, and for the last several months, he's been part of the small group you lead. He shares with you over coffee that his marriage isn't great. Wow, these themes just keep popping up, huh? I'm really not trying to force this issue. His wife, in his words, is controlling, demanding, and constantly critical of him. I'm extremely angry, he shares. To be honest, I go back and forth between angry outbursts and withdrawing to daydream about what life would be like if I never married her. She drives me crazy. All right, there's some songs written about that. Here's a different scenario. All right, guys, empathize. Let's put ourselves in the position of ladies. Here's a different scenario. We are a women's ministry leader in our church, and a young woman. Wait, are we women's ministry leaders as men, or are we women? Like, they didn't explain the scenario. Okay, you're a women's ministry leader in your church, and a young woman tells you she's been hurt by another member, I guess, of the women's group, a friend of hers and yours. When she opens up about the offense, you struggle to track with her. The accusations are vague, and it becomes evident she's reading offenses into what seem to be benign comments. One more hypothetical. Can we just get to the point how suicidal, sympathetic empathy is not always good? Well, suicidal empathy is never good. One more hypothetical. A few single 30-somethings in your church request to meet with the elders to discuss problematic developments. During the meeting, they share that they're offended by how the pastor has, in 3 consecutive sermons, applied the text to marriage and parenting, but never once to singleness. Okay. Additionally, the church is planning a marriage-focused Sunday school class in the fall without offering a corresponding class on singleness. They demand a listening session where the elders hear them share what it's like to be single in the church. That's stupid. Like you don't need a listening session. Like, hold my talking stick, and let me tell you, elders. Like, drop a comment in the suggestion box and go away. Like, send an email. Like, if you send more than one email about this and don't get a response, find a different church. Like, they're not listening to you. Like, this shouldn't take 2 seconds. Like, excuse me, hey, pastor, hey, elder, I'm single. Do you guys think you could incorporate some of the single stuff into your message? Oh, I didn't think about that. I'm sorry. Everyone here is married but you, because you're awful and suck and no one loves you. I mean, I'm sorry. I overlooked you. Everyone here is married. It just didn't dawn on me to point out, to cover the one single person. So thank you for letting me know you're single and no one loves you. We will absolutely incorporate your singleness into our message. That's me being mean.
We were listening to yesterday.
So, that may be me being a little mean when I probably shouldn't be a pastor, but, where was I going with that? Right, so it probably just got overlooked. Like, it's not like they're trying to exclude you. I mean, if you tell them all that stuff and they're like, no, church is not for singles. Well, you've got your answer. But I demand a listening session. Shh. Okay. To validate or not to validate? No, don't validate it. Be like, I'm single, help me. Okay, of course we will. That's what we're here for. Each of these cases is unique, but each raises questions. How should you respond to feelings? Angry, hurt, offended, being expressed. Should you validate or challenge them? If you're a pastor and face these questions all the time, on the one hand, you want, in an effort to show grace, you want to validate the feelings and those who confide in you. On the other hand, in an effort to pursue truth, you want to redirect or steer them away from misleading emotions and potential sins and idols they reveal. Yes. Contemporary leaning. Chris, are you here now? Do you want to jump in here? I'd rather not read an entire article if I don't have to.
Keep reading.
Nah. Are you making eggs or a chicken omelet?
I am flirting with my wife right now. You need to leave me alone.
You're what with your wife? Is she fighting with you? What did you do, Chris?
No, flirting, not fighting, you Nimrod.
Oh. I don't want to be part of that.
That's exactly what she said. She's like, why is Nate in the middle of our hug?
Ah! Go be Don Juan DeMarco in your own time. This is your unpaid job, bro. Okay, so should we validate Chris's feelings or not? I'm gonna say, Chris, it's great you're married and your wife is not angry at you right now. So I guess that's good. But chop chop.
She's like the Hulk. She's always angry. What are you talking about?
Yes, what's your secret? I'm always angry. That makes me sad. Should we validate Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk? Like, he was good in that movie because Bruce Banner, like, he played a sickly, weaselly, little, cowardy, shriveling guy really well. But is that good acting, or that's just who he is? So it makes it seem like he's good acting, but he's just being himself. And then the Hulk is all CGI, so I mean, I guess that's why I like Mark Ruffalo in the Avengers movie as Hulk, because he just naturally gravitates toward the cowardy, sniveling little creature he plays, and then when the Hulk comes out, it's CGI. So no, I won't validate him as Hulk. Well, except in the way you probably don't want to be validated, but bring back Lou Ferrigno. Like, the guy's like over 70, but he'd still be a better one. Okay, we could skip to the end. Look, if it's stupid, don't validate it. It's not like should you validate or should you not validate. It's more like how much can you control yourself when you're not validating dumb things. I guess that's the answer. Uh-oh. I guess we weren't empathetic. We lost one. We were not empathetic enough. I mean, when I started this day and I said I had questions about Calvinism, I thought that would like get all of them here. Like, I thought that would be like crack, and they would all just like come running. Okay. Is there and this thing goes on forever. I'm going to post the link in the description, so if you guys care about this stuff, you can check out the description of wherever you're watching or listening to this and read it yourself. It's very long. Differentiate between acknowledgement and validation. I acknowledge your problem. I will not validate it. Acknowledge the reality of the emotions, and that's different from evaluating their health or helpfulness. See feelings as a thermometer rather than a thermostat. Practice situational wisdom. I feel like all of this is summed up in just like be a normal person with like common sense, like with a head straight on your shoulders. That's the answer. It's like, guys, do you know sometimes people can tell you things and you can acknowledge them without validating them? Give me $400 for that. It's like, how do you not already know this? And then there's like knowing and doing. Like knowing is half the battle. Living it out the right way is the other half. Maybe there should be a course on that, like how to live things out the right way. Like how to, in theory, I like this mouse wrist rest better than the one I'm testing it against. The way it's living out is, the one problem is it's sliding with my wrist. That kind of defeats the purpose. It needs to stay where it is. Tread lightly. You don't want to offend someone or else you're going to be the subject of their next contemptful statement. These steps won't make everything easy in every direction straightforward. It's possible to handle the situation with the uttermost love, care, and wisdom and still get accused of spiritual abuse. Oh, you definitely will. And a lot of times people will see like, helpful wisdom like, oh, it's not as bad as it thinks. And then they want to bite the hand that feeds and like snap at them. It's like, look, guys, if you're coming to me with a problem and then you want to like start lashing out at me, like I'm happy to like, give you count. I mean, no one's coming to me, but whoever. I would be happy to give someone wisdom and counsel. But if you're like, oh, Nate, and you start biting me, I'm like, nah, Nate's gonna bite back. So go to Chris.
Nate, no one wants to bite you, I promise.
Bite me, Chris.
Maybe my wife bites everything, so I don't know. She's teething.
This is not breaking your way.
Yeah. So,
Chris,
what
you say
me in on this article? This is like a more psychobabble stuff.
Yeah, well, all I can say is, Chris, what you're saying to me makes me feel, where's the words here? Being cruel or abusive, Chris. What do you say to that?
I would say, Nate, as empathy raw, like, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel unsafe?
Like
Does
I
it
want
make you feel like, would you like to choose a feeling from the feelings wheel and we can trace it back?
We've clarified the feelings wheel does have anger on it, right?
It does.
Just stick it there. That's always what I'm going to choose.
Like, maybe we should put like one of those little spinny things, like like a little arrow with like, where you like,
And it
flick
will tell
and
you how you're
spins.
feeling.
Yeah, and there's a feelings
Yes!
wheel. Yeah.
That is perfect. Take that feelings wheel and do that. That is amazing. It's like, how
Yeah.
are you feeling? It's like, I feel sad and lonely. It's like, no, that's only how you think you're feeling. Spin this wheel and it will tell you what you're really feeling. Oh,
It's like, oh no, and now it's pointing at despair.
well, maybe edit it a little bit. There's like 14 happies and like 3 or 4 joys and like, a couple kind of melancholy that you have something to work with. But they're mostly happies and joys. And hook it up to
for Gen X, and it would be with the infinite sadness.
Smashing
see?
Pumpkins. See,
Yeah,
I'm
you
Gen X
got
enough.
it.
Yeah.
Even my kid would get that because he knows music.
Tonight.
So I showed him the original French guy Millet that did the the short film that was the first one to have special effects, like in 1905. And I showed him that, and then I showed him the Tonight music video. He's like, "Wow, okay, yeah."
Did that make him want to smash pumpkins? Is he a fan?
It did. Yeah.
Huh.
We're taking him to that museum tomorrow. So
You know what, dude? I suffered through less than half of the distance yesterday. That traffic is awful. I told my wife, I'm like, this absolves me, right? I don't have to go anywhere for like at least a month, right? Can I not leave my city borders for 1 month? I think I got sort of kind of approval. It was awful. You know what makes my anger wheel go like off the charts? Is rage a feeling, or do they try to stay away from that on that?
no, yeah, I got rage on there. Yeah.
Is that the most extreme?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, what makes me rageful is after we're done with this stupid aquarium that was worthless. Like, I see more wildlife in my backyard. No, somewhere different. Anyway, so
I was gonna say the Tampa Aquarium's pretty good. I mean, it's no Georgia Aquarium, but it's decent.
it's probably the same. They've got some sharks. They've got some stuff. You like go underwater, and it's like, I'm underwater, and there's like sharks floating above your head, and like we saw a manatee crap, and I'm like, wow, that's
Where's your sense of wonder, Nate?
They're like, look how clear a poly glass, whatever glass you look through is like 6 inches thick. They're like, look how clear it is. Look how vivid it is. You can see everything in detail. I'm like, yeah, that's manatee crap rolling down the side. And it was a big ball of manatee poop. So after we're done with this,
what did the kids say? Where they're like, "Ooh, manatee poop."
I was the one to point that out, and then they're like, "Ew." Wasn't there a book like everything poops? So
Everybody poops, girls.
Everybody hurts.
Oh my
Sometimes.
gosh.
Yeah, I'm stuck in Gen X now. So okay.
There's worse places to be stuck.
Yeah. Well, apparently Gen Z is wanting to come back in the 90s. I saw a special report. It was a special report, and like they're like getting in touch. Like at the mall, like there was a lot of 90s music playing.
Blossom.
I'm like, I did not like Blossom, but I'm like, why are they playing 90s music at the mall? Apparently Gen Z likes it. Like, so they're going back into the 90s and realizing that we had it the best. So we're leaving the aquarium, and we pass by the gift shop because they make everyone pass by the gift shop. My child finds it's a tracker. Apparently it's a real thing. So you buy like a $22 bracelet, and it has a little code you scan or something on it, and it lets you track a real sea turtle. So where there's like stuck a tracker in a sea turtle and it's out to sea, you can scan this thing on your bracelet, that's $22, and you could be like, bring it up on your phone and be like, oh, I see where Sparky the turtle is. Oh, he hasn't moved in 3 days. Maybe he got eaten. Now he's moving again. Oh, maybe he's in the belly of a shark. Anyway, so you can track your turtle. So my kid's like pestering me to death about this turtle tracker. I'm like, dude, I will go get
I'll go find you a turtle for $20.
I know. I'm like, I will get an AirTag and go stick it on the turtle in our back of your yard and let you track that on your iPhone with an AirTag. I'm like, I will do that for like $15. Like,
I'll just lick it and stick it to the turtle.
like if you really want to get crazy, like maybe I'll go pat the alligator's nose and like, you can track an alligator. Be like, I'm tracking my expensive turtle. Be like, I'm tracking my $10 alligator.
I don't know if AirTags work underwater, so that may be the one fatal flaw with your plan, but it's pretty good.
I don't know, man. I'm not seriously. It was a very bad day. I mean, good for family time.
Turtle tracker. I want a turtle tracker, Daddy.
Good for family time and all that. But you know what? Look, if it wasn't like kind of anti-Christian to want to kill half the planet, the people who are all about depopulating the earth, I mean, I kind of get it now where they're coming from. I mean, they're probably doing it for the devil and Satan, and I would just be doing it for convenience, which is also not great. But if there is a natural, godly way to kind of make some people just not be here, I understand. There's way too many people. Way too many people.
I mean, there's the ban. That's what they had in the Old Testament. They just wiped out whole societies.
Yeah, I mean,
That's godly.
Well, I mean, if you ever say like God comes to you and like tells you to go do that, first of all, just delete my number.
Why?
Yeah.
Are you afraid that you would be the main lieutenant, or are you afraid that you'd be the first victim?
Yes.
Good thing I'm not charismatic.
You'd just be banning me for not giving you money. And I'm like, okay, let's see. You want to answer some Calvin stuff?
Sure.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
I had another one first. The link I sent you, it was to... What was the name of it? It was a Martin Luther writing.
Oh, yeah, you sent me that link and I checked it and it was already deleted off of X.
Probably because X deleted it. It is a writing from Martin Luther. I'm not going to ask you if you're familiar with it. I just assume you are.
Oh,
My question
I'm
is...
extremely familiar with this writing. Yeah, I've read it.
Oh, so you saw the title at least. Okay, yeah. So my question is, how familiar are you with Martin Luther on the Jews and their lies?
I'm pretty familiar. Yeah.
You have like first edition right there?
I mean, I wish.
And every other edition?
$100. Yeah, so... Yeah, I know about the Jews and their lies by Martin Luther. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess what's the deal? Like, someone was telling me about this, and
I'd be really interested to hear what they told you.
Well, let's see. So there's this person in our community who, the time of his life would have been in Hitler's Germany. That would have been the time he would most want to be alive and probably be thriving pretty well, if you get what I mean. So there's this guy like that who lives here. And every now and then we see him. And
this is not somebody I know. I thought this was somebody from Clubhouse. I was like, oh my gosh.
No, this is... Chris, it's you, Chris. Talking about you.
I've gone full anti-Semitic.
There's this Nazi dude that loves Hitler, like, that lives around us. And, being friendly with most people as I am, I'm not going to run away. So, like, I like my creature comforts. So whenever we're in the community pool, over the years, I'm hanging out with everyone and whatever. And this guy comes and people scatter like roaches. They just flee because
they don't want anything to do with him.
He's loud and he's proud of his stances. And they probably think I'm half that way too. But I'm like, dude, I'm not leaving. Like, it is my hot tub, my pool. Like, I'm not leaving.
That guy hates people more than you do. And he's figured out a way to have the pool all to himself.
It's just a long con, except I'm the one that stays there. Anyway.
Yeah.
So there's
that. So go on.
So it's kind of funny to see how long people can hang because we get visitors all the time. So every now and then, people will come and usually they scatter and leave, like within a sentence or two. and his general appearance, because it looks like you would probably expect. Not me, Chris.
But he looks like Edward Norton from I can't remember
American
the name
History
of that
X.
movie. American History X, yeah.
How do I know that?
That's your favorite movie, Nate.
Oh my gosh, we're so in trouble. The point is, look, we're not Nazis. We are not Nazis.
If you have to keep
Say
telling
it, Chris.
people you're not Nazis like 9 times, you're probably a Nazi. Go
Yeah,
on, Nate.
say it, Chris. This is a throwback to your health concert or convention or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris and I are not Nazis, but this guy maybe. Maybe
This guy, you know, the giant swastika that takes up his entire back. It's totally not the Nazi swastika. It's
I think it's
Hindu symbol for peace.
Yeah, there's actually the I think it's the eagles or whatever, like the eagles that are facing away, whatever that is, that symbol. Is that supposed to be a bad symbol? Like that was on the Nazi badge or something? You know what I mean? Was it the 2 eagles that like are facing out?
Yeah, I to be honest, I am not very up on all of my Nazi imagery, Nate.
I am not big on symbolism.
Yeah.
The empty cross is enough for me. So, this dude is up there and he's talking, and every now and then it's fun because I'm not leaving. I'm like, I mean, there's sometimes I'm like, man, maybe I should leave. People are hearing this and thinking I'm part of it. I'm like, no, my creature comfort selfishness wins out. I'm not leaving. So, but we get along because, you know, I just kind of nod my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And when people come, some of them try to hang. So some of them try to be like...
You know, Nate, the reason they have to put so much chlorine in the pools is because of the Jews. Sorry.
If you slip on a banana peel, somehow it's Israel's fault. Like, stub your toe at 3 a.m., the Jews! Like, dude, not everything is the Jews. Okay, so, I just need to hit cancel. Okay. Sometimes people will try to hang with this guy, and they'll come up and try to be like, I can take this, I'm not thin-skinned. And it's fun to see them sweat, because he'll just start ramping it up, like, has to be on purpose. I mean, I'm sure this is who he really is, but, like, I also think, like, he kind of goes out of his way to egg people on. So sometimes people, like, start sweating, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, the unfair practices, oh, okay, sure, I can understand some of that. And, like, 2 minutes later, they're, like, grabbing their towel and leaving. Like, ah. Anyway.
Gotta go. Come on, kids.
Kids. So this other guy who is like, seems to be like, he was a visitor. And anyway, so he was like hanging, and he also was not bothered by it. He's like, okay, sure, whatever. Like, I'm here, I'm not leaving. And anyway, so this guy was talking about stuff, and this other guy was tacking on, and we kind of segued into religion, because, you know, me trying to wedge some Christian stuff in there. It somehow got to Protestantism, and this guy brought up Luther, and he's like, oh, you know, Luther said some interesting things. I'm like, I'm sure my friend Chris would be into this, because I'm not really big on Luther's writings, but I know this dude is. So he's like, well, check out this, and they tried to send me the link, and I'm like, oh, it's Luther on the title, On the Jews and Their Lies. So I haven't read it yet, but... I asked an AI about it a little bit, and he's like, yeah, Luther was really hopeful that when he did his Reformation, the Jews would all come to Christ, and then when none of them did, he got really mad and wanted to, like, burn their houses. So that's all I know. What do you know? Apparently I was looking for, like, a first edition reprint, or at least something that wasn't edited, because it's like, yeah, a lot of this is, like, heavily edited if you can find it. So I found, like, a 2009 version, and it's like, yeah, a lot of it's going to be sanitized, because he basically went, like, scorched earth. Is that a fair assessment of this thing?
It is complicated and nuanced. Okay, so...
But you're not a Nazi.
Right. So
complicated and nuanced. Go on.
The Nazis loved this book, but you have to put it back in its historical context. First of all, back when Luther was writing this, literally everybody despised the Jews. Like, there was nobody who were like, you know, Jews are cool, like, except Jews, right? Like, I mean, literally nobody liked the Jews.
Well, wait, why was this? I wasn't familiar with that. Like, what was the reason? Like, we know, like, we know what Hitler says, but like hundreds of years before that, was it all the same stuff, like political stuff or religious stuff? Like, why?
Yeah, because the Roman Catholic Church in the Fourth Lateran Council started making Jews wear orange Stars of David on their clothing. Where does that sound familiar, Nate?
Yeah, but was this based on the whole thing like they killed Christ? Is that
Yeah, it's sort of that, but it's also that, like a lot of the early Christian writers, Justin Martyr, and we're talking very early here. There was a strain of anti-Judaism throughout the early church that blossomed into anti-Semitic practices. So you got to remember, the Jews wearing symbols on their clothing started in 1215 in Europe.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's the Fourth Lettering Council, where they also came up with transubstantiation, by the way. It was a twofer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So this is right before the Scholastic period in Europe. This is about 50 years before, like 30 years before, what's his face? Thomas Aquinas. So anyway, so yeah, it has deep roots in Christian thought. And I mean, like, there were early Christians that were church fathers that burned synagogues, like, that weren't in Europe. Like, that, like, this was a thing for thousands of years before Luther was born. People didn't like Jews. Like, nobody liked the Jews.
Okay, that's the context. So why do you
That's the context.
love this writing of Luther?
Well, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, but you have to understand that there's something that happened that just broke Luther. Okay, so there was something called the Peasant Rebellion in Germany. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay, so in 1524, there was a peasant uprising that was mainly like sort of a forerunner to communism. Like, it was just kill all the rich people. It's just called the German Peasants' War, and this it was huge. Like, they killed lots of people. They all sorts of bad things happened. Okay. And Luther was on the side of the peasants until the peasants rose up and just started killing people. And then he was very much like, oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that, and the Jews had a lot to do with the Peasant Rebellion, apparently. So I'm not a huge expert on the Peasant Rebellion. I've read a few short things about it, but essentially what happened is that Luther's ideas about the Jews completely changed when, people started taking up arms and slaughtering people. And so, this is essentially what really turned the page for Luther on the Jews. Because before, he was trying to evangelize them, he wanted to talk with them, all this stuff. He wrote a bunch of stuff to them. He wanted to, work with them on the Old Testament and Hebrew, and then the Peasant Rebellion happened, and that just soured Luther. And so when he wrote on the Jews and their pies, he was writing in response to a lot of the abuses that had just happened in Germany with the Peasant Rebellion. And you got to remember, the people that are keeping Luther alive are going to be the elites in Germany. Like, the reason that like the other Protestant reformations had failed was because the papists were able to just get hold of everybody and murder them all. So starting with Jan Hus, right? Or Peter Waldo, and folks like this. So their solution, you may even say final solution. Their solution
What's that?
was, yeah, I don't know. The final solution for the papists was just, well, you can't have a reformation if there's nobody alive that believes it. And so they would just wipe out entire villages, men, women, and children, and they'd just put them all to the sword and be like, okay, that's a nice reformation you got there. So then, what was protecting Luther was the fact that he had this Roman Catholic, by the way, prince that was protecting him in his castle, and the papist armies, because the German armies were stronger than the French armies at the time. they couldn't get to him. And so that's why this is why Luther is remembered for the Protestant Reformation, when there was tons of other reformations before that that were attempting to reform the Catholic Church, but they would just use the power of the sword in Catholic Europe and just kill everybody. And so, the reason that Luther was very miffed at the Peasants' Rebellion is that the peasants would have just re-embraced Roman Catholicism, and Luther and the rest of the Christians would be toast.
So was this like during the Habsburg dynasty or reign? Because wasn't that like hundreds of years?
That I don't know. I don't know. Like, it was very feudal back then, right? So like the different princes had a lot of power in their own fiefdoms.
Were there two princes?
Oh, there's like a lot of princes all through Germany.
Bro, Gen X reference.
Sorry, what?
Spin Doctors, two princes. 1, 2 princes kneel before you. Is what I do now. If you no no.
No, yeah, my wife likes that song.
It's a great song.
If you
wanna buy me flowers, go
buy
ahead
me
now.
flowers.
If you 90s were so good.
Yeah, she's like
going.
Spin Doctors from 100 years ago.
Yeah, but I think they started probably like before I was alive. But I mean, I think that song came out in the 90s.
My wife was like, I was in high school when that came out.
Was she in high school in the 90s? Or wait.
Yeah.
Well, so was I.
Well,
but how?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, she graduated in 91.
Oh, okay. I graduated in 2000.
Yeah, you were a little tyke.
The year 2000.
Yeah, I would have babysat.
Yeah, she would have babysat you and probably been like, ugh.
Probably made me Calvinist.
Terrible.
Wait, were you both Calvinist when you met, or did one of you indoctrinate the other one?
No, the whole thing is in college. I think I've told you this before, is that in college we had people that were like, oh, here's Calvinism. We're like, oh, okay, interesting, because we grew up Southern Baptist.
Wait, did you grow up together?
Well, I came down to Florida my senior year of high school, and then we started dating my sophomore year of college and her freshman year of college.
And now she has a self-driving car. Life turned out well for her.
Yeah. Well,
that's how you link those dots together.
Yeah. There you go. So, yeah, she gets to drive it.
Or she gets to let it drive her.
Or she gets to let it drive her, yeah.
Princes, lots of princes.
No.
Take it.
No, yeah, I think it's too much.
Okay. All right. She's got her elderly aunt that she's taking over her today, and she thinks the self-driving car may be a little too much for her elderly aunt to...
Like, she'll be like, it's demons! It's demons!
It's demons! Cast steering wheel!
Oh my gosh, you should take a bunch of elderly cessationists and like put them in their car and they just take your hands off, or just like get out and like let it take them away and see if they become like charismatic, like all of a sudden, like, because they're like, no, I've been a cessationist for 1,000 years, but now the self-driving car, the demons are real. I need to call Paula White. That would be so evil and hilarious to try.
Have you seen that photo of Paula White that's floating around now?
No, probably not.
Bro, it's terrifying. Like, it's just it's in like really bad light, and like she's had so much plastic surgery done that people are like, oh my goodness, like it is. You know how Kenneth Copeland looks terrifying, just like looking at the dude? She looks like that now.
That's
what demon possession does to you.
Here's her eating a baby's foot.
Oh, yeah. I think Paula White's demon possessed for sure.
Wait, is that Paula? Yeah, if you find the picture, let me know. But yeah, so lots of princes in the Germanic regions.
Yes, there's lots of princes, and Luther was, sponsored by one who died a Roman Catholic, by the way, interestingly enough. But he was protecting Luther for the good of Germany, because this is also the start of like nation states and nationalism, and there's all sorts of other socio-political things that are very complicated and important to understand this era. But long story short, long story longer, just looking at the context of Luther's, the 1524, because you got to remember the Protestant Reformation didn't even get started. He didn't even tack the 95 Theses till 1517. and he was just like, he didn't want to break off from the Catholic Church. That wasn't until the Diet of Worms, so like that's 1521. And so, 1524, everything's still really new. He's still a young man. And the peasant rebellion had just occurred. And there was lots of people dead and all kinds of things, and villages burned and like all kinds of bad things. And Luther's like, yeah, no, these guys suck. And
but wait, you
that's
say the
what he
peasant
wrote.
rebellion is why he had an issue with the Jews. Were the Jews the peasants? Like all of them?
They were some of the peasants. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some
They were
or
some
like
of the leaders of
80%?
the rebellion. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And and that's the setup to the Jews and their lies. Is it a book or is
Yeah.
it just a bunch of writings?
No, it's a full book.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's a
the
full
whole
book.
thing is just why he hates the Jews?
No, I mean it's not that terrible, but I mean it's basically like, here's all here's all the terrible things in the Talmud, which is true, here's all the terrible things they say about Jesus and the Holy Family, and I mean it's just it's the Jews and their lies, He's not wrong about a lot of it, I mean, like the Talmud is terrible, and Talmud says a lot of really terrible things about, the Holy Family and Jesus, and so he's not wrong about that, but
Someone was making the case, maybe it was you or let's say it was Greg, about how like modern Judaism, like even if they're like I'm an observant Jew, just like our ancestors. Someone was making the case like no, that's not true. Ever since like basically Christ died, like the New Testament, the old covenant closed like since that moment, and like they started leaning more into Talmudic stuff, and then when it finally got printed down, now basically the saying, I have no idea, was instead of like following some sort of observant Old Testament Judaism, it's basically like you just go and talk about the Talmud, and like Isaiah's cool, but let's talk about the Talmud. Do you have any idea if that's the case? Like they're like modern day Judaism, even observant practicing ones, it's not the same as they did in like Jesus' day before he died.
yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, no, that's totally correct. Yeah, I mean the Rabbinic Judaism is focused on the Talmud and other things. Rabbinic Judaism is not focused on the Old Testament at all. Like most Jews have never even read the Old Testament. They have
Like,
readings.
yeah, do they even like read scrolls or
Nope.
whatever?
No, they got it up there.
They
And they're
what?
like, yeah, it's cool. They'll have it in the synagogue, and they'll be like, yeah, isn't it pretty?
And
Sitting
then they
up
just
there.
talk about the Talmud.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty
But
much.
the Talmud's just a bunch of like arguments, so they just like argue about arguments.
Yeah. They just argue about arguments,
It's
man.
just like religious debate class.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we're
Yeah,
not
they just
Nazis.
never. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, look, man, like Rabbinic Judaism is awful. It was created as a response to Jews converting to Christianity, because they'd sit and read the Old Testament and realize, like, oh man, this is about Jesus. That's all they got to do. And then they're like, holy cow, it is about Jesus. Like, look at this. There's like, so like, there's this very good YouTube channel that I really like. That these guys are Jewish Christians that go, all through Jerusalem and stuff, and they're talking to people, and they'll talk to, Orthodox Jews, and they'll hand them an IDF Bible, right? So it's like in Hebrew, put out by the Israeli Defense Force.
Oh, and
they'll
it's
be
missing
like,
verses.
yeah, what?
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say like they take out some verses. Maybe that's not that
No,
Bible.
no,
Go
no,
on.
no.
Okay, go on.
It's all there. It's
Oh,
all
okay.
there.
Okay, go
Because no, they leave it in there. So he has them read Isaiah 53 from the IDF Bible. And he's like, who do you think that's about? And they're like, well, it's clearly about Jesus. Is this in the Old Testament? And he's like, the New Testament? And they're like, no, this is Isaiah. And they're like, wait, what?
Because they've just never read it before.
Yeah, they've never read it before. They've never read Isaiah. They've never read, like, they don't read the Old Testament. So, like, I mean, they're pretty much, I mean, they're not prohibited from it, but they just don't. It's just not part of Jewish practice these days, especially in Rabbinic Judaism.
What other kind of Judaism is there?
Well, I mean, within Rabbinic Judaism, there's tons of different factions. But yeah,
so
it's all
there may be
Rabbinic
some that's
Judaism.
not all Talmud Or no, they're basically all the
No,
Talmudic
they're all
stuff.
that way. I mean, well, like,
Okay.
well, no, like the Orthodox are going to be very about the Talmud. The Reformed Jews, right, that are a
Those are
bunch of
basically
leftists.
liberals, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're just leftist communists. They don't even read the Talmud. They're like, no, we're a bunch of atheists. What are you talking about? I mean, because you can be an atheist Reformed Jew, no sweat.
Well, yeah,
Like,
you
they're
can be an
cool with
atheist
that.
rabbi, apparently. Like, that's
Yeah,
one
oh,
of the
yeah.
things. It's like how people want to talk about racism and be like, you're a racist. It's like, dude, if you get half the people who are like KKK members, like all three of them that still exist, and are like, okay, now let's talk about your problem. It's like, the blacks. It's like, why? Because they're black. Is that really the reason? Well, it's because they do this, 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 and they'll just start going on a list of stereotypes. It's like, okay, well, a stereotype isn't a color. So your problem may be with maybe some of the culture and how some of them were raised and some of the stuff they got into that may or may not have been put on them by the government in the 80s, just saying. So your problem is not with the color of someone, it's how they act. It's what they do. And it's like, well, yeah, they all do that. And it's like, okay, well, now here's a whole bunch of people of that same race who act completely different. Like, what do you think about them? And it's like, well, but black. I'm like, but that's not the problem you actually had. So I think if this was somehow able to get through their heads, they're like, oh, my problem isn't a different race. My problem is how some of the people of this race act, and your only experience is crappy people acting a certain way, just like white people. It's like white liberal women are like a plague. If I was racist against all white people, which sometimes I gotta stop myself, but it's like, no, not all white people are raging leftist cat-lady liberal awfuls, but some of them are. So it's not that I have a problem with white people, it's that I have a problem with the ones who do those things. Similarly, I think that the Jews, people that have a problem with them, they want to tie it back to some sort of like ethno-religious thing, and then be like, they killed Jesus and they did this and is this. Like, well, look, it's not because of their race. Like, a lot of the ones who they identify in like political power, like you've seen those charts, and it'll have like all the ones in like political office and leaders and stuff like that, and it'll have like a big Star of David next to them, like they're so clever. It's like, oh, you've identified like they're Jews and they're in power, therefore all the problem is all the Jews. And it's like, well, wait, of those Jews in power, I haven't done this, I wish someone would, but I'm willing to bet most or all of them are unanimously non-religious, non-practicing. They're basically a bunch of atheists. So really, your problem wouldn't be with a Jew because of their race. Your problem would be with a bunch of actions of atheists doing what atheists do. That would probably be your problem. So instead of the Jews, it may be better to say the godless atheists. It's like, but no, they're Jews. It's like, they're atheists, dude. They may be Jewish by DNA, but not by religion. Like, how are you to say what is religion as well? I'm like, no, they tell you they are non-religious. That's just my sneaking suspicion. So it's not the race, it's their behavior because they're atheists.
Right. I mean, that's probably a lot of it too. I mean, that the whole thing is like, is anti-Semitism stupid? Yes. Why is it stupid? Because you're judging an entire group of people based on an immutable characteristic that doesn't necessarily define them. It's the same problem with being a racist. It's like dumb because it's like, well, are you judging an entire group of people, based on an immutable characteristic? Like, that's just dumb. It's factually stupid, right? So like, now, do a lot of rabbinic Jews do a lot of really wicked things and promote a lot of really wicked things in the world? Yeah. Is it a Jewish thing? Not necessarily. It's a wicked mankind thing. So,
I mean, another suspicion that will never be proven is it could be the hardness of heart set upon them by maybe their ancestors being some of the people that's like, kill that guy, crucify him, may his blood be on us and our children. Maybe throughout the ages, some of the hardness of hearts of some of those are the ones that, I don't know, end up like having sex shops with their daughters or running porn websites. I don't know. I can't prove that, but I just wonder. Chris,
yeah, that guy's gross.
What are you talking about? I'm not talking about anyone specific. Shmooly, right? I wonder.
Yeah, Rabbi Shmooly.
How we think people like Jews will be given a chance, like some of them will see the light before it's absolutely too late. Do you? I mean, the Bible doesn't really say who, but do you think one way or another, or just whatever, it would be the ones who are somewhat like you just said, Judaism. Like, there's not effectively like Judaism like back in the day. It's all not that way. So maybe this goes out of the way. But would it be some of the ones who think they're being more observant and at least trying to follow real Judaism? Which that kind of throws a wrench in it, because you're like, no, it's all Talmudic. It's not. It doesn't resemble old time Judaism at all. So, still no.
Yeah, no, there's nobody running out there actually worshiping the real Yahweh.
So it's just going to be a random whoever. Maybe the dude from the porn websites that's Jewish. Maybe he'll be like, oh wait, Jesus is the Messiah. I'm closing down shop. And maybe it's someone that's running.
I'm a Calvinist dude, so I think that God can redeem anybody at any time. In any way.
Well, that's not a Calvinist thing. We think that too.
Well, but I don't think there's any free will attached to it. So,
Let's talk about the decrees of God, shall we?
Okay, that's a good segue, I guess.
You said Calvinism. So, Greg, feel free to come up if you like. So, oftentimes, I will say something, and Lou gave us a ton of questions if we run out, but I really wanted to ask this one. Wanted to ask it yesterday, but you abandoned me.
I was at Silver Springs trying to see manatees that weren't going to come out because it's too cold.
Oh, well, did you get to see it?
I did get to see the monkeys. That was fun.
Well, you could have gone to our aquarium and saw a manatee with a chopped off tail.
Oh.
This is more depressing. Like, I don't want to see that. I want to see happy animals, not one that's
I want to see happy manatees in the wild.
Jeez, man.
Wounded manatees that have been hit by a speedboat. That's terrible.
I know. Anyway,
Way to scar your kids, Nate. Great job.
None of what happened yesterday was my idea. None of it. Except double ice cream. That was my idea. We saw ice cream. We overpaid. Got underserved. And then at the mall, I'm like, hey, guys, there's ice cream here, too. Double ice cream was my idea. Okay, Chris.
It's probably your greatest contribution to mankind at this point. But go on.
Yes, oftentimes, like the other day even, we're talking about the decrees of God, and, does God decree this, and does God decree that, and how, and then some people want to say, well, that sounds God's bad. If God's decreeing murder, and then it's like, well, decree doesn't mean permit, and then you're like, no, it does mean permit, here are the steps. And then I will say something like, let's go back to the beginning. Are you saying God decrees this, and people have free will, not in the way non-Calvinists mean, but all of that stuff, can we reduce this lowest common denominator, because God exists first and has to create stuff, and then I will usually say something like, is that fair? And then Greg will say something like, well, that's fair, but that's only where it starts. So yeah, let's and I usually go to, is that fair, to just get people to withdraw their clause enough to move on. But now I wanted to start where, well, that's fair, and make it where it's actually what you would consider spot-on accurate, step by step, as much as you can without missing any steps. So back to, it's fair, meaning God exists first and has to create stuff, including you first, in order for you to do anything evil. So, and that's fair. So now let's incrementally go step by step to where you would say, that's spot on, until I will either agree or not. Okay. Let's see how far we can go before we disagree.
Okay, cool.
How many steps are there? Do you have any idea?
2.
Or is it 2? You said 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It'd be pretty simple.
Well, I was expecting more steps. Okay, go on. So it's fair because God exists. Now what? He just says do it and you do it? Is that it?
Yeah, no, well, he just says here, God decrees all things. So God is going to decree everything that is going to happen in the universe in history. Okay, so he's going to decree the spinning of the atoms. He's going to decree the manatee losing its tail. He's going to decree the lifelong scars that you've given your babies from seeing the manatee with no tail. He decrees all of those things. Now, does that mean that he is the author of those things? I.e., does that mean that he is making these things happen? No. What's going on is that the free will of the creature, this is why we're talking about the establishment of secondary causes. This is the creature. The creature is choosing in its fallen nature to do the things that are against God's statutes and his laws and the things that he wants for us. Like a good father would. He wants the best for us, but we're going to go run around and be like, oh, I know better than you do. I'm going to go, whatever, do a bunch of meth and, throw axes at a tree, because that's going to be better than what God has in mind for me, right? Because as rebellious, sinful creatures, we're always going to think that we know better than God knows for us. Does that make sense?
With you so far.
Yeah, that's it. And so your free will actions that you go and do yourself just happen to match God's decree. God's not making you do it. You're just out there doing stuff because that is who you are. You do according to your nature.
So we're back in the same place, basically, where we started.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's it. That's just it. Like, people try to make it real complicated.
But that's where you would say compatibilism. But what about the Calvinists who disagree with compatibilism? What would you say to them?
That's a much more nuanced discussion. So, like when they would say I disagree with compatibilism, I'm like, great. What's your idea? And if they tell me something like synchronic contingency, that gets into all kinds of things, and it's basically Roman Catholic libertarian free will. And so then I'm like, okay, cool, you're a papist.
Is there a Calvinist who would not agree with compatibilism that you would not call a papist, or who you would still? Oh, okay. So, do 9 out of 10 Calvinists agree with compatibilism?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, if you don't agree with compatibilism as a Calvinist, do you typically go into like hyper-Calvinism, or is that completely different category?
No, you end up becoming Roman Catholic. So, I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be flip, but
why don't they stop at Lutheran?
Well, no. That the trajectory is Reformed Baptist, then Presbyterian, then Anglican, because we've seen that, right? And then from Anglican to Roman Catholic.
And Luther's just gets left out?
Yeah, pretty much. Luther gets left out of everything because, like, modern Lutheranism just, I don't know, man. Look, I like Lutherans. They're nice people. Some of my favorite Christians are Lutherans, like Hans Feeney, but I just think that they have very indefensible theological positions in a lot of cases, and they're just not going to be willing to give that up because they're freaking Lutherans, man.
Yeah, we'll get to you, but yeah, it's like the Anglicans weird, man. I mean, it's like it's bad enough having a pope who it's like cosplays as like a spiritual leader, and everyone just kind of agrees with that because I guess they're like, well, the Bible says this, but I'm going to submit myself to my holy Roman father. But then you've got your holy Roman lesbian or your holy English lesbian for like the Anglican popes, and it's like Tucker Carlson, right? Like he's Anglican, like he's got all these problems with all these other Christians. He's like, no, I'm Anglican. I think he's Anglican, right? Did you say Episcopal? But no, Episcopal is Anglican.
Maybe
right?
Episcopal, yeah.
But
I think so.
But that's just like the American version. But are they tied to the Anglican Archbishop, or they're separate? But basically,
no, they're separate.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, but there's like for all the Anglican people, I know there's some other people
like Revolutionary War that
they're like I'm
Anglican.
It's like, dude, your Pope's a lesbian chick. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's look, the people that are going to be genuinely conservative, like you may have seen like Calvin Robinson, right? Have you seen this guy?
That name sounds familiar.
So he's a conservative activist who's also ostensibly some type of Anglican priest, but apparently doesn't have orders or something. I don't know. There's some complication with it, but basically he just goes up there and blasts all the crazy libs about all the crazy stuff that they say. So I'm like, yeah, this guy's based until he's like, yes, and then worship Mary. You're like, wait, what?
Yvette, what
the heck happened? But like that, yeah. So anyway, that guy. Anyway, so sorry. Go ahead, Yvette.
I guess I have a question on decree. So, would you that word? Can you say like that would mean like what was meant to happen? but it not originally designed to happen, but did happen only because of mankind's free will to choose rebellion rather than to choose God. Would that word mean that way? Because we see in Genesis when God created the earth, and it was so beautiful. It was like everything was provided for us what we need, but also the like things that simply gave us joy, like what so yeah, he just, like, for example, he made like different types of flowers. Like, he didn't have to do that, but he did. So yeah, there's different varieties of colors and shapes that we see around us. Um, so yeah, so would you say that mankind, in choosing the path that they chose, it was meant to happen that way, but it wasn't originally designed to happen that way, but it happened that way only because of mankind's rebellion, and that why it was meant to happen the way it was meant to happen for that person going to hell, or just being like just like a burden for God's children. What do you think? Did I lose
Well,
you?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by meant to happen. So, like, God decreed the fall. Like, God decreed all actions, including sinful actions, from the foundation of the world, because His decree is simply what is going to happen in the universe to glorify Him. And that sounds terrible because but that also doesn't mean that God is what we call the quote unquote author of sin. It just means that, sin is authored by the creature, and that, God is the one who has decreed what will occur in the universe. It was always meant to be that way in that sense. God wasn't surprised by the fall. He actually decreed the fall. And so it was always meant to happen exactly as it has happened. Like, nothing has happened without God's decree and permission. Now, in terms of what His prescription is, God wants perfection. He wants there not to be, the destruction of the earth, and, all of the, terrible things that happen, and all the sins that occur, and all the rebellion against Him. He doesn't want any of that to happen in His prescriptive will. But in his decree, all of those things happen to glorify Himself, so that He can demonstrate His glory to creation. It's the point of creation, is for God to demonstrate His glory.
Do you think, like, the Patrick's bad analogies, how they end up? Is there some, like, way that you could come up with to explain this to people? It's like the mystery of the Trinity. It's just a mystery of God's divine, like how the end is like, there's a mystery of the faith and the mystery of the Trinity. Is there some way to do that for this? Be like, look, I mean, I guess kind of compatibilism, but I mean, is there some more way like that? Has anyone thought of this, or is there something like that? It's like, look, man, God does all this stuff. He knows things.
Huh? Yeah, Westminster Confession, chapter 3, paragraph 1. It's 3 sentences. I could read it to you real quick, like they do for the Nicene Creed. It's just
I think you have it memorized.
I wish I did. I do not.
Well, yeah, read it.
Okay, give me a second. Does that make sense, Eva?
Yeah, it was designed to happen the way it did, in the way that it did, but using mankind's free will, without violating. I meant to say without violating mankind's free will. I understand. It's a lot, to process. It almost feels like it's taking chemistry 1, 2, and 3, and also an advanced level of chemistry with their doctrine.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, look, the whole thing is like, if you think about it, what's the alternative? The alternative is way worse. Okay. So the alternative to God decreeing all things and being in control of all things, right? And, knowing the ends from the beginning, is that we have a God who either has no idea what's going to happen next, which is open theism, or we have a God that capriciously just allows all sorts of evil to occur that he could stop, but then he doesn't. And so that's the problem with our free willy friends, our Arminian friends, is that you have in that case you have God sitting back and essentially allowing all of these horrible things that he doesn't want to happen. He just allows them anyway, and they have no reason for why that God allows those things to happen.
Well,
So
it's
all
kind
of
of like that's kind of like the why, right? Because they would still say without the decretive like force of it, they'd be like, well, God still allows this. So like maybe someone else would say God decreed that. Well, they'll say allow. So I mean, they still it comes down to the why. So it's like the understanding of the mechanism is easier than the why, because the mechanics is like, look, before time ever began, God is creating the snow globe of our universe and our earth and everything. So he's outside, working in the snow globe. He's like, all right, so we're going to start with Jesus being slain before the foundation of the world. So that's okay. That's right by the snow globe, step one. Now we're going to make the heavens, earth. We're going to make man. We're going to make animals. We're going to make this. Okay, now we're going to do the prophets, Abraham, Isaac, that sacrifice thing that I don't make him go through with. Oh, am I schizophrenic? No, I know exactly how that's going to happen. So then it's like the snow globe. Now Jesus is crucified, he's resurrected, and now there's revelation, there's the tribulation, here's the end of days, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. All right, my snow globe is complete, and now you shake it around or hit play and just watch the snow settle. So then it settles in order he made it. The Jesus being slain before the foundation of the world, Adam created, the fall, the sin. So that's easy to kind of understand if you're like looking at it like abstractly outside of time. But then it's like, well, yes, but all of the good things he's like set in motion before it happened. He knows it's going to happen. He's decreeing it, if you will. But then the question is why? So it's not understanding how, it's the why. Why does he decree, allow any of that, which is the question everyone has. If God is all good, which is one of the ones I just got from Lou, if God is all good, how does he allow bad things to happen? Why doesn't he snap it? So it's not the mechanics, it's the why. And then you have something like everything is for God's glory. Because even if the heart is desperately wicked and whatever, it's like, okay, well, that makes sense why people want to do bad stuff. But then why did God allow that in the first place? So all you have is why, which is everything is for God's glory. And then it's like, well, okay, now how again? How does God get glory from bad stuff? And it's like, well, bad stuff will show a contrast, or there will be, like the Bible says, through suffering and trials, it shows the genuineness of your faith, and it's tested, and it's refined by the fire. So it's more things like that lead to how and why God would allow anything bad ever. Is that correct, Chris? Is that fair?
Well, sure. I mean, but I guess my point though is that for our non-compatibilism friends, like, so for instance, like Dr. Frank Turek debated this atheist, and the atheist honed in on this immediately. And Dr. Turek could have no answer because when you ask somebody who doesn't believe that God decrees all things, why is there baby cancer? Their answer is, well, there shouldn't be, but God allowed it, and maybe he shouldn't have. And it's like, well, and then the atheist will be like, well, doesn't God just powerful enough to stop baby cancer? Why does God need a world with baby cancer in order to glorify himself, or in order for the greater good to occur? Why? And, of course, Dr. Turek had no answer for that, because you don't have an answer when.
Well, but then
your
the other
back
answer is
against
he
the wall.
decreed it, which then
Right,
asks the other question,
exactly. You
why?
just bite the bullet.
Why would he decree it?
Right. He decrees it because he decrees all things in concert with his will. Oh, I was going to read you the Westminster Confession, the little thing. But he decrees it. And so the very same atheist, James White, debated. And when he tried to go down the same tack, James White is just like, yeah, God decreed all that. And the guy's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, no, it's like part of God's glory and his plan. And he decreed baby cancer. He just bit the bullet. The guy didn't know what to do. He's like, he got
Right,
real frustrated.
but-
He was just like, forget it. I'm done with my questions. And it's like, yeah, man, I mean, we
And
just
then the
believe that
only
God
place you
decrees
have to
all
go with
things.
baby cancer is, well, God decreed it, but then why? The only place you really have to go is either like the Trinity, like, look, man, it's a mystery. We don't know everything. Like, we've got this far. You have to have faith, because without faith, it's impossible to please God. So you have faith. That's a good one. I may use that one. So you have to have faith. So why on earth would a good God, a loving God, decree baby cancer? You've got to have faith in God or you're not going to please him. So do I have faith that everything is for a good, holy, glorifying God purpose? Yes. So don't worry about it. Or you have to go the mystery route, like, look, we've got this far just like the Trinity, but there will be some things that you can't quite connect every final dot because you're not God. So is God that you say doesn't exist also evil? Or the God I serve is good and is loving and doesn't necessarily love baby cancer, although it was decreed, for his glory somehow. So butterfly effect it. Like, is that because the baby is going to beat cancer and thousands of souls will come to be saved because of it? Is it because the baby is going to die and, 100 years from now, someone's going to be saved because of that death somehow? They see a memorial on the side of a road and they're like, wow, oh, that's so sad. I need to put my trust in something. Jesus. Like, you just don't know. So instead of looking everything as ultimately evil, you have to give the opposite just as good a chance. So look at it as ultimately good. So God's point is everything is for his glory. So you can either be like, well, for his glory, whatever that means, or it's a mystery, I don't know, bro. Or if it seems bad, are you like Abraham? Do you think he loved the idea of killing Isaac? But he had faith in God, and at the end of the day, Isaac was fine. Well, at the end of the day, the baby died. At the end of the day, the baby's in heaven and doesn't have any problem with this.
Yep. Well,
read your confession thing.
You asked me for the the little Patrick that so I don't think I can do it with the Irish peasant, so I'm just going to do it normally. I could try it. I'll practice for you. God from all eternity did by the most wise and holy counsel of his own will freely and unchangeably ordain whatsoever comes to pass, yet so as thereby neither is God the author of sin, nor is violence offered to the will of the creatures, nor is the liberty or contingency of second causes taken away, but rather established. And that's it. It's just saying,
you should just say, everyone should just memorize that, and the next time someone says something like that, just say that.
Yeah.
Be like, I don't understand that. Be like, I'm happy to answer your question.
Mm-hmm. That's it. You got liberty of conscience and everything else, and you got free will, and God doesn't violate the free will of the creature. Creatures only do that which is in their nature.
Before we go to the others, and Sean, I invited you up here. Yvette, does that answer anything you were kind of asking? Because that's my question too. It's not the how. It's not how to understand it for me anyway. It's the why, and those are kind of what you're left with. It's like, do you have faith in God that something that seems on the surface bad, is God actually being bad or weak or impotent, or is it God really being true to his godly, good, loving, righteous, just nature, and everything is going to work out in the end? Do you have faith in that or you not? Or what Chris said, or look, bro, it's all for his glory, bite me.
Yeah, I think adding so that God's glory can be demonstrated to mankind, I think that is palatable for me if that's added, and I think that was added, but for me it would be like for everybody, so that everybody can see, like, look at this, look at the result of your using your free will to do harm, but it's so that you could learn
Yep.
that you're using your free will to do. Huh?
No, you're good. You're back. You cut out, but you're back.
So that you could learn that using your free will to do harm will lead you to a life of death and destruction, and therefore turn to God, have faith in him for your restoration. Like, all that makes sense if that what I just said was added. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's a lot, it's really a lot. But I would really love to hear what Greg has to say about that. about what Chris said or add something to it, whatever. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I think that any professing Christian would agree that, like, the most glorious act of God in human history is the cross of Christ, right? Where God redeems, forgives, and reconciles wicked, sinful human beings to himself through his own incarnation and, perfect life and substitutionary death, right? Every Christian would agree that that's like the pinnacle of God's self glorification, right?
Sure.
Would that be possible if sin and evil did not exist?
Perhaps not.
Well, absolutely not. How could God redeem sinful people if sin didn't exist?
Oh, well, okay, yeah. Yeah,
So
I see your
that's
point.
my answer. So I'll quote R.C. Sproul, right? Evil is not good, but it is good that evil exists.
I mean, I get, yeah. I mean, I guess
I will second that.
in theory, completely. But then the question would be, why can't God just have the only sin be everyone's still a candy bar and that's as evil as it gets, instead of baby cancer? And then it's just like, I don't know. Do you want to be God? Like, figure out how to make it to heaven someday by the blood of Christ. And if you still care about that, ask Him then. I
Well, yeah,
have a
but
feeling
because
you
the
won't
answer
care.
is real simple, is because it starts with, eating of a fruit, right? None of us would be like, eating of a fruit, that's terrible. Like, it starts with that, and then it gets to baby cancer. That's the whole thing. There's no, oh, I can do this little sin over here. No, sin infects everything. And so that's why in Romans chapter 8 it talks about the groaning of creation. That creation groans and waits for that last day, for mankind to be glorified and for sin to be taken out of the world, because sin affects everything, even the creation around us.
That's a
Which,
good point. Because if you're
yeah.
like, oh man, a candy bar, I could pay my own way, or blah blah blah. It's like, well, but it's like candy bar. Wow, it's a little theft every now and then. I can repay that, and it's fine. And there's a law for that, I think. Let me convert to Judaism, so that can apply to me. But then it's like, well, sin's not that bad. But then it's like, well, hold on, let me make it a little worse. And then it's like, let me just give you 2026 America. It's like, oh my gosh, sin is so bad. Sin is so awful. I need help. So maybe to display the gravity and how awful it is.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
First, since since the subject is sin itself, well, this is how you deal with sin. The the preaching of the gospel, the death, burial, resurrection, ascension, and what we're all looking forward to, the second coming of Jesus Christ. There's the gospel. It's five things that's in that gospel, which is the number of grace. So when you're dealing with, we reach the gospel of grace, we're talking about the kingdom. We're talking about something that's so beautiful that you tell somebody about someone who loved you so much, he sent his only begotten son, that all you have to do is believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, you will be saved, period. I don't put no question marks. I know there were in the original that there were no punctuation marks, so don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the problem of sin, you have to use faith to defeat it in the finished work of Christ, and then the discipling process starts. And then you have to do something that a lot of people don't like to do much nowadays, called prayer and fasting. Prayer and fasting, studying the Word of God, reading through your Word. And then you start to grow. You start to grow spiritually. And the more you grow spiritually, the less likely you are to sin. And if you do sin, thank God, according to 1 John chapter 2, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteousness. Hallelujah. Praise God. I'm going to say hallelujah if I get the shouting all up in here.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. I have more Christian questions if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do one more, and then I'm going to have to run. I mean, you can still stay here as long as you guys want, but let's do one more, and then I'm going to have to...
No, have her save them for tomorrow.
You're forbidden from asking your questions. No, I do have time for one more, though, so ask the next one.
Content, you bet.
We need content. It's not about your spiritual growth. That sounds bad to even
No,
joke.
I'll save it for tomorrow.
No, wait, I want one. I want this one. I legit have time.
Give him one now, and then,
I really do have time. I just don't have time for, more than one, but I want one.
But, okay, so there's the vine, and there's the branches. There's one that gets pruned, and then there's one that gets cut off. What is your interpretation of it? I had a conversation like this with Matt, but I was so sick, I forgot about everything that he said. I honestly did. I don't remember.
Talking about the Romans 11?
Yeah, where, the father is a vine dresser, and where, the branches...
Like they get pruned and the worthless ones get thrown in the fire?
Yes, exactly. What is your Calvinist interpretation? So that would be a question for Greg and Chris, because I've heard of the Pentecostal one, but I've never heard of the Calvinist one.
It's got to be the same.
Well, I have, like I said, but I forgot.
No, some Pentecostals think you can lose your salvation, Nate. Remember.
From that, though? Doesn't that just mean... I mean, that's got to just... I mean, even the ones that think you can lose your salvation, I wouldn't point to this for it. I mean, it's well, look... Okay, I guess I can see that. Okay, just explain the meaning that everyone here probably believes.
Wait, so Sean, was I wrong about that? Are there some Pentecostals who don't? Or do all Pentecostals think you can't lose your salvation?
Oh, no, that's why I said don't start no mess. We don't deal with the question at hand.
I mean, was I wrong?
Hey, see, you like to start mess. Why you like to start mess all the time?
I'm not trying to start a mess. I'm just trying to figure out if I was wrong.
Why are you messing, Chris?
Why? Messy.
All right, anyway.
Okay, here, look. The Romans chapter 11 is continuing from Romans chapter 10. This is talking about God's people, Israel, okay?
Excuse me, Chris. She's talking about John 15.
Oh. Wait, you were talking about John 15 or Romans 11, Yvette?
Sorry, John 15, Revelation's right. Sorry. It was, sorry.
Oh, okay, well, that's a different thing. Go ahead and take it, Greg, because I'd have to go back and read it.
I'll just read the passage real fast, if you like. Every branch, this is John 15, verse 2. In King James V, shout out, Mark. Every branch in me that beareth fruit he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit he purgeth, that it may bring forth more fruit. That was only a clip. The rest of it talks about if it's not bearing fruit is in the fire, right? Sorry, it only gave me a clip. And then it goes on to... let me read the whole thing. This is like skipping around. Okay, John 15. I'm sorry. Let me just read this for everyone that doesn't know it, and apparently all of us who are bad Christians. John chapter 15. Okay, here we go. So, I am the true vine. I'm the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does not bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you're clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like the branch and withers, and the branches are gathered and thrown into the fire and burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. So that's it. So there's the pruning to get more fruit, obviously Christians. So is your question really, Yvette, about the branch that does not bear fruit, how it's gathered up and thrown into the fire?
Yes.
Greg.
Yeah, the whole thing, it's not about getting saved or staying saved. The whole thing is about fruit bearing. It's about usefulness. It's about being used in ministry. So this isn't Christians losing their salvation, if it's even, and I could it's not about people keeping or losing their salvation. It's about Christians bringing forth fruit, right? Usefulness in Christian service, making disciples, evangelism. If they fail to do that, they get put on the shelf, right? And the fire isn't, this isn't talking about the eternal judgment. This is just talking about, you could be taken out of ministry permanently, right? There are certain disqualifying sins that would do that. So the thing isn't about salvation, right? It says, whoever abides in me and I in him will keep his salvation. It doesn't say that. It says, whoever abides in me and I in him will bear much fruit. So to make this passage about salvation in the first place is just a mistake.
So how do you? I mean, because it seems like there would be better analogies than verse 6. Then, if that was somehow the case, not about losing or keeping salvation, but if it does not abide in me, he is put on the shelf but still saved. Well, it doesn't say that either. If he does not abide in me, he is thrown away. That's pretty severe. Like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered and thrown into the fire and burned. Like that seems really resolute and final. So to say, well, no, you're still cool with God, you're just on a shelf in heaven, that seems like a severe analogy to read it that way, right? What do you say, Chris? Do you agree with that, or what do you think? I mean, on its face, if we're not talking about losing salvation, it seems like, well, if you're pruned, you bear more fruit.
Sorry, dude, I was transitioning to my car.
I figured. But it's like if you abide in him, you'll bear more fruit. You're a good, great Christian. And if you don't abide in him, so it says, if anyone does not abide in me, I mean, you can read that as, well, it's not losing your salvation. If anyone does not abide in me, if it's like the parable of the sower. If anyone, hears the message and they're like, oh, cool message, but, I'm busy. So, I mean, you're not abiding. If you're not abiding in him, you're not a Christian. You were never a Christian. So you're thrown away like the branch into the fire because you're not a Christian. Like, okay, Chris, where do you stand?
Yeah, I mean, either of those are going to work out. I to be honest, I haven't really studied this passage in quite a while, so I don't want to give an answer unqualified from that. So, Yvette, I will go and run through an exegesis of this. I think I agree with Greg, but I just haven't run through John 15 in quite a while. So,
run it through your proper how to read a Bible book, the proper hermeneutics, and
yeah, I mean, no, seriously, like how to the correct way to study the Bible is to observe what's in the verses, interpret the verses, and then apply the verses. So yeah, I will do that. I'll do that probably later today.
I could just punt and say the fire is purgatory.
How much money will it cost to get you out?
You about to get thrown up out of here. Ain't no such place. It's two places.
You must be purified by pain. Well, Yvette, we will await Father Chris's answer on the morrow. But Sean, you have anything to say real quick before I run?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, go ahead,
Okay.
Yvette. Both of you.
Okay, ladies first.
Yvette,
I said ladies first.
What? What? Sorry, I missed out.
Were you trying to say something?
No.
Oh, okay, Sean.
Okay. Here's the thing. When it comes to you reading the Bible, especially John 15, Jesus first talks about the fruit. Then he starts talking about the Holy Spirit. All right. So then I have to come out. Okay, fruit, spirit, fruit of the Spirit. I'm making it simple so a little child won't have. Then I say, okay, fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5, 23, 24. The fruit of the Spirit is what? So character. The character of God is basically what he's saying. You got to not only fruit is not only winning souls, even though that's some great fruit to have, but also getting character developed in you. Fruit don't grow overnight. Fruit starts off as a seed. Seed then turns into a stem. A stem then start growing some leaves, and then you see what? Some strawberries, some tomatoes, fruit. So we need to develop fruit, but it starts with planting. And what we need planted in us more than anything, the Word of God. And there it is, very simple. So we can actually develop the character of God by getting the Word in us. How does David say it? Thy word have I hidden in my heart that I might not sin against thee. Praise the Lord.
All right, everyone.
Yep.
All right, everyone.
Well, we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Nate, if
Do
you
good
wanna,
things.
If you want to join us for cultural enrichment, man, you let me know.
Oh gosh, I've had enough cultural enrichment. I'm just gonna stay home.
Your tailless manatee is enough cultural enrichment for you.
That and the mall and the traffic, and dude, I used to go to the mall like I was like a mall rat. Like I would live at the mall. I'm like, this is so great, best time of my life, yeah. And just doing stupid stuff, hanging out in the mall. I'm like, dude, I just don't want to be there at all anymore. Like, there's just so many people. Okay.
Culling.
Okay.
All right.
Later.
We'll circle back tomorrow.
Yes.
Did I answer your Calvinism question, though?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're basically back where we started. But yeah, it's like step 1, God exists and you have to be created. Step 2, he just decrees it. So, I mean, in my head, like whenever you say our Arminian friends don't have an answer, in my head I'm like, well, that's the exact answer you gave, except you're saying he decrees it, and the non-Calvinist would say, well, he allows it, but doesn't decree it, but he knows it's going to happen anyway. So, I mean, you're arriving at the same exact conclusion. It's just one, God is allowing it, knowing it's going to happen, and the other, God's like putting his hand a little bit more on the scale and saying, I decree this. So, I mean, it's really the tension there, in my mind, should not be as much between you warring factions. It doesn't give me a problem. It's like, well, we can use a different word, like one different word, allows versus decrees, God fully knowing. If it's someone who says, well, he allows it, but he doesn't know all things, he knows all possibility, well, then I would join hands with you, no homo, and be like, nah, you're wrong. But if you find someone non-reformed that's like, God knows all things, he knows it's going to happen, he sits there and watches it happen, just like he does if he decrees it, knowing it's going to happen, watching it happen. So, I mean, it's like so close. I mean, it's that razor's edge of disagreement that turns into like holy wars. But yeah.
Well, yeah, but okay, so the problem comes in with, if you say he allows all this stuff, then the next question is, that's the Euthyphro dilemma, right? If God is all good and he's all loving, why does he allow it to occur in the first place?
But then you can say the same thing as, why does he decree it? And you're left to the same answer. He allows it for the exact same reasons he decrees it. He allows it for his glory, for this, for that. He decrees it for his glory, for this, for that.
No, but see, the point is that he's not preventing it or doesn't have the power to prevent it. So the problem is only on the Arminian side when they say, right? Well, hold on. It's only on the Arminian side when they say that God allows these things. When we say he decrees them, there's no, well, could God stop it? Because God is not going to stop it because he decreed it.
Well,
whereas with the Arminians, you're leaving it up to their free will, and then God could stop it if he wanted to, but he doesn't.
But the Euthyphro dilemma is he's either evil or weak, right? So like on the Arminians, they would say he's weak because he doesn't stop it. On the decree side, they would say he's evil. And that person is wrong in either way. He's not evil or weak. But on the Euthyphro dilemma, like what you just said, is
he's not preventing it.
He's causing it, and then to say that makes him evil.
We avoid it because he's not preventing it.
Right, but then their judgment would be he's evil, but your counter-correct judgment would be, well, no, who are you to call in your subjectivity what is evil? You don't know the future, you don't know your God. But that would be the same counter to, well, he allows it, I'd be like, well, you don't know why he's allowing it, or you don't know why he's not stopping. It's not because he's weak. You're wrong. So whoever is on the side of propositioning the Euthyphro dilemma, they are the most wrong. But again, that doesn't give me a problem because it's like, well, okay, so now let's fight over decree versus allow. And then if we go all the way back, like apparently the only other step backwards to God decrees because God exists first. And you have to exist because God creates you having already existing himself. So it's like, like on a technical note, it's like to just check that box. It's like, if that's what you mean by that, then sure, fine. Like, I think I've made peace with all this.
Not the Euthyphro dilemma, by the way. Anyway, that's a different thing. But anyway, but no, like the entire. I'll send you the clip. To do different people. One being Dr. Turek, who was standing next to Charlie Kirk, by the way, when he was assassinated.
Yeah.
So it's Frank Turek, who is a famous Christian apologist, versus this atheist, and the atheist just schools Frank Turek and just embarrasses him, okay? To the point where Turek is just looking like a complete moron. And then the exact same atheist with the exact same line of questioning against a Calvinist. And it's totally different. It's not the same. This is what I'm trying to get across to you.
Well, yeah, send me the clips. Let me take a look at it. I'll add that to the list. I've got some Luther books to read.
Yeah, So I'll send you some other stuff on the Luther's thing too. But but honestly, with the whole, is God the author of evil thing and all that jazz. Dr. Plantinga is the one who created the
Plantinga.
The Plantinga.
That's how I.
Who created the whole free will defense. And the free will defense, when up against an atheist, just falls apart. It really does. So,
dude, that's an uncharitable atheist.
I did some deep dive historical research, by the way, for Pastor Mark's sake. And this is.
I saw that. Why'd you move it to the Catholic discussion? Because you're calling him Catholic.
Yeah, pretty much all of his theology actually comes from the Jesuits, who were part of the Counter-Reformation, attempting to destroy the Protestant Reformation. And so he is, I'm fitting him for his papist collar because he is a dutiful papist running around and, attempting to, bring people into the Roman Catholic faith. Which I know he's going to love.
If you and Mark, get on visceral terms with each other, there may not be any hope for you.
No, but it's so the deep dive is literally his branch of Baptist comes from the General Baptists that were in England that broke off from the Church of England.
Oh, I read what you wrote.
Fled to. Oh yeah. So they broke off and they were hanging out with the Mennonites, and they absorbed some of that theology, specifically Arminianism, and then took it back to England with them. And then in the 1930s is when the first independent fundamentalist Baptist church appeared. So, yeah, just kind of fun. So it's like, well, you guys don't even go back 100 years, not 2,000 years.
Well, I'll wait until he reads that and disagrees. But all right, I got to run. All right, everyone. Have a good day. See you guys later. All right, guys, like, share, subscribe. Check out AskAChristianPodcast.com. See you later.